The small brown dog shivered in the corner, his ribs poked through his matted fur. His eyes, dull with fear, told a story of neglect and pain. He flinched at every sound, a prisoner of his own terror. Days turned into weeks, each one a painful echo of the last. Food, when it came, was scarce and tasteless. Water, the most basic need, was an unpredictable luxury. He longed for a kind touch, a gentle word, but they never came. The only interaction he knew was the sharp sting of anger, the cold bite of indifference. His spirit, once bright and playful, began to dim. One day, a new sound pierced the darkness, the murmur of voices unfamiliar and concerned. Light flooded the room, harsh and blinding. He cowered further into the corner, his heart pounding with dread. Strong hands, but surprisingly gentle, reached for him. He was too weak to resist. Lifted from the darkness, he was carried outside. Blinking in the sunlight, he felt the soft caress of grass beneath his paws for the first time he could remember. He was placed inside a vehicle. The engine's hum, though unfamiliar, was somehow comforting. A glimmer of hope, faint yet persistent, flickered within him. The man stood in the courtroom, his face etched with indifference. The evidence was presented. Photos of the dog's emaciated body, the veterinarian's grim testimony. The judge, her expression a mix of sadness and anger, listened intently. Animal cruelty, she declared, would not be tolerated. The sentence was swift and just. A hefty fine, a ban on owning animals, and a mandate for counseling consequences designed to punish and rehabilitate. The abused dog, now safe in a shelter, was no longer a silent victim. His suffering had sparked a demand for justice, a resounding message that every creature deserves compassion. The shelter was a haven, filled with the sounds of barking and the comforting scent of food. He received regular meals, warm baths, and most importantly, kindness. His wounds began to heal, his spirit slowly returning. One day, a little girl with bright, curious eyes visited his kennel. She sat quietly, her small hand extended through the wire mesh. He cautiously approached, sniffing her fingers. She giggled and began to scratch behind his ears. It felt good. He leaned into her touch, a low rumble of contentment vibrating in his chest. That day, he left the shelter with his new family, his tail wagging with the promise of a brighter future. He was home.